My name is Motonari Kambara from K University. I'm going to talk about Cache Relation Transformer, a cross-model language generation model for fetching instructions. This slide shows the background of this study. Domestic service robots can be a promising solution for those who require support. However, the communication skills of those robots are still insufficient. Therefore, we have been working on research that combine multimodal language understanding and domestic service robots. For example, this video shows research on a multimodal language understanding method for carry and place tasks with domestic service robots. The problem is that these multimodal language understanding models require a large multimodal corpora to improve those accuracy. Similarly, many deep learning studies have the same problem. In the next slide, I will explain why these problems are not solved. Creating large multimodal corpora with object fetching instructions is generally labor-intensive because instructions for each image are annotated by human annotators. It may be an easy task if the size of the corpora is small, but in reality, we need a large corpora containing tens of thousands of images. Even assuming that it only takes 1 minute to annotate an image, it will take 16 hours to annotate 1,000 images. Thus, it is not only tedious, but also costly to annotate instructions to large multimodal corpora. Against this background, multimodal language generation can reduce the cost for creating large multimodal corpora. Next, I'll be showing you some related works. These are related works. Transformers have shown overwhelming performance in natural language processing, so they have also come to be used in cross-modal language processing. For example, methods for image captioning tasks using transformer include object relation transformer. This method uses the coordinate information of the object region in the image as geometric features. As I will explain later, our study was inspired this method. In addition, video bar is a method for video captioning, and Duda is a method for change captioning that explains the difference between two images. ABEN is a method for fetching instruction generation tasks. This task is to give images appropriate fetch instructions. ABEN uses LSTM as a decoder, so it takes a long time to train. And as I will show later, there is a problem that the quality of the generated sentences are insufficient. Now, I'd like to show you the problem statement of our study. Based on our motivation in this research, the target task is a fetch instruction generation task for target object and destination. In this task, the input to the model is an image containing region of the target object and destination, as shown on the right. Here, the target object is an everyday object that is to be grasped by the robots, and the destination is a moving direction for the target object. In addition, the output is an object fetching selection sentence in which the target object and destination can be specified by reference expressions. In the next slide, I will show you the difficulty of this task. The difficulty with the FIG task is that it requires the generation of instructions with clear reference expressions. For example, in this figure, the target object is the cocaine in the bottom right corner. But this instruction is not clear enough. This is because there are two cocaines in this image, and it is impossible to identify which cocaine is the target object only by this sentence. On the other hand, if the generated sentence was like this, we can easily identify the target object as the cocaine in the bottom right corner. Like this, labeling expressions are important for identifying objects when generating accurate and clear instructions. With this in mind, the next slide shows the proposed method. In this paper, we propose the case relation transformer, a transformer-based fetch instruction generation model containing case relation block, which explicitly handles target object and destination. In the next few slides, I will be showing you the more detailed network structure. The input to the CRT are the image features and coordinate information for the three types of preprocessed target object, destination, and context information. Here, the information given by the dataset is used for the target object and destination, but context information is automatically detected. These input features are embedded by the case relation block. At the time of the paper, it was a free connected layer, but we have extended our research from there, and now we are using two transformer blocks. The next slide shows the detail of the case relation block. I will explain the details of CRB. CRB mainly consists of two transformer blocks. Each transformer block consists of three transformer layers. This figure shows the details of each transformer layer. Each block calculates the cell attention between the input feature vectors. In the first block, three types of feature vectors obtained from the intermediate layer of less than 50 are processed for the image region of the target object in order to model the properties such as the color or shape of the target object. Next, in the second block, in addition to the feature vector obtained from the first block, the feature vectors obtained from the destination and context information are input to model the position relationship between the target object and each object. The feature vector obtained from the second block is input to the encoder. Next, I will explain the details of the transformer encoder. Next, I will explain the details of the encoder. The structure is borrowed from the ORT. The encoder consists of 6 encoder layers. Here, you can see the structure of the transformer encoder. As shown in the figure, each encoder layer consists of a box multi-head attention layer and a feed-forward network layer. The encoder first calculates the positional features between each region using a coordinate information. Attention head calculates attention from these positional features and the feature obtained from the image. And finally, concatenate them to obtain attention. By doing this, we modeled the geometric relationship. In the next few slides, I will show you the detailed transformer decoder. The decoder uses transformer decoder and the performance of relative word prediction. Specifically, as shown in the figure, the next word token to predict for the predicted word string up to one word before, and the output of the encoder. In the masked multi-head attention layer, in training, the JS word and route are masked. And in inference, the attention is calculated as shown in these equations to calculate the attention between predicted word tokens. The generator predicts the next word from the obtained word token. The purpose of the loss function is to maximize this probability. In the next few slides, I will show you the detailed dataset used in the experiments. This slide shows the details of the dataset used in the experiments. We use the PH-big dataset in the experiments. The PH-big dataset is a dataset that contains images and object fetching instructions. Each sample consists of an image, coordinates for the region of the target object, one of the destinations upper right, lower right, upper left or lower left, and the nose fetching selection. We have spread this dataset as shown in the table. In the next few slides, I will be showing the experimental results. The quantitative results are shown below. The graph shows the comparison results with the baselines. In the graph, the green, blue, and yellow bars represent ABEN, or T, and our method respectively. These metrics, such as blue for evaluate the n-glance of the generated sentences. All of these metrics mean that the sentence with a high score is closer to a human sentence. These graphs show that the proposed method overperforms other methods for each metric. From this, it can be said that generated sentences of the proposed method were of higher quality than those of the other methods. This suggests that target object and destination can be described more accurately by properly processing the three types of input with CRB. In the here next slides, I explain the qualitative results. The qualitative results are shown below. This shows an input image, the ground truth instructions, and generated sentences corresponding to it. In the figure, the green box shows the target object, and the red box shows the four destinations. In this example, the target object is the black object in the bottom left area, and the destination is the top right area. In the image, there are some black objects, one in the bottom right area, and another in the top left area. So generated sentence is required to identify the black object using a reference expression. In ours, we succeeded in identifying the target object as the black object in the lower left box. Also, in this example, the target object is the black mark at the bottom right. And this is expressed like this in the ground truth sentence. And the red arrow in the baseline. On the other hand, in ours, the target object is referred to as the black mark, which is a concise and accurate expression compared to other expressions. In the next slide, I will show you the result of the subject experiment. This slide shows the results of the subject experiment using the mean opinion score. In the experiment, the subjects were randomly presented with 50 instructions for each method and were evaluated on a 5-point scale from very bad to very good, based on the clarity of the instructions. From this result, it was found that the generated sentence by ours was higher quality than the baseline. It was also confirmed that the quality of ours was almost the same as the quality of the humans. In the next slide, I explain the error analysis. Error analysis was performed on qualitative results. Here is an example of target object error. For this example, the generated sentence inaccurately referred to the target object as a white bottle. In the paper version of the CRT, 34 sentences contain the description error of the target object out of 100 generated sentences, which is 79% of all errors. We believe that these errors can be reduced by some ingenuity, such as reconstruction loss. This slide shows a summary. Our motivation is that multimodal language understanding requires large multimodal corpora. However, it is labor-intensive to annotate many images. Therefore, in this research, we propose case relation transformer, a multimodal fetching selection generation model. From the quantitative and qualitative results, it was confirmed that our method overperformed the baselines and generated concise instructions using reference expressions. Thank you for listening.